On today's menu, you might not expect to find a culinary hotspot on a volcanic island in the middle of the Pacific, but thanks to an incredibly diverse ethnic population, creative chefs, and a return to local farming, the Big Island of Hawaii is becoming exactly that. Chef Peter Merriman pioneers a new style of cuisine.
So many chefs are celebrities nowadays. The celebrity for chefs is farmers.
Seeing tropical fruit in a whole new light.
You know what the best thing for this is?
You eat it?
Oh, man, back scratch.
Reinventing a classic Japanese snack.
Two Ladies Kitchen has taken traditional mochi to that next level.
Honoring ancient traditions in the Valley of the Kings.
Our ancestors walked this valley, and when we're working down here, I feel like they're still among us.
Close to 1,000 miles from the nearest landmass, Hawaii is the most remote archipelago on Earth. A crossroads of east and west, Hawaii's isolation may be its greatest asset, allowing an amazingly diverse group of cultures to influence the evolution of the island's cuisine. In fact, almost nothing edible that grows here is native. Nearly everything was brought by sailors passing through or immigrants to the islands. Hawaii also maintains a distinct native culture, inextricably tied to the land.
In Hawaii, sense of place is a very important concept. It's a spiritual sense that the land, the mana, is as important as everything else around you. So that gave a really beautiful way to perceive you and your connection with the environment. Really what we're doing is giving a sense of place to our food. Because we don't really do Hawaiian cuisine, we do Hawaii cuisine. My name is Peter Merriman, and I'm a chef here on the Big Island of Hawaii.
Connection to the land is one of the most important concepts in Hawaiian culture. Surprisingly, almost everything farmed in Hawaii is grown solely for export. Chef Peter Merriman sought to change all that when he pioneered the culinary movement known as Hawaii Regional Cuisine. Inspired by the island's home cooking, Peter took it to the next level, partnering with local farmers to create a supply of produce and launch a whole new style of Hawaiian food. An award-winning chef, Peter opened the first of 3 restaurants in the Big Island town of Waimea.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you? The farmer's market is here every Wednesday and Saturday morning. There are more things here that I don't know what they are than any place I've ever been. I feel like I'm in Southeast Asia when I come here. What is that? Is that spiked one over there? Oh, that's durian? Oh, okay. When I came here in 1983 to see all these Asian and Polynesian ingredients, it was a little bit intimidating. And I think if I hadn't been so young, I wouldn't have jumped into it in such a bold fashion. I'd been working at the Maunalani Bay Hotel for a couple of years, and they were going to open a new restaurant on that resort. And I interviewed for the job. How much are these chili peppers? I'm going to take those, okay? The man who was interviewing me asked me if you could do any cuisine you wanted here, what would you do? You know, I was 28 years old, so I was spunky, and I said, hey, I would do regional cuisine. Thank you. So 2 days later, he calls me up, he says, hey, congratulations, you've got the job, and we're gonna do that cuisine you were talking about. And I'm going, oh, we are? Because it doesn't exist yet. I didn't tell him. but so we had to set out to create the cuisine. So this is our Kahua Ranch lamb, and you can see it's a small but real beautiful piece of meat. I'm just gonna smear a little bit of Dijon across it. This is a mixture of fresh thyme and rosemary that we just pulled from the garden. Some chopped garlic. It's just a touch of olive oil right at the end. We're gonna grill this. When I got here, I knew nothing about Hawaii. I actually thought I was coming to a place that would have a really diverse group of cuisines because I read about the different ethnic groups that made up Hawaii. How'd that come out?
Perfect, man. Look at it.
Lo and behold, I get here and the place is wonderful, the people are wonderful, and the cuisine, it's kind of boring. They're doing continental cuisine in the hotels at that time. That was really how I started developing the idea of doing a Hawaii regional cuisine. It was to take the ethnic and cultural influences of Hawaii and use that as the cooking technique on food that is produced here in Hawaii. Okay, so this is the mahi-mahi that I've had marinating, and I'm gonna put it in the cornstarch so that I can get a nice little crispy exterior. I'll saute that in oil. I wanna take this out a little bit before it's finished cooking while it's still undercooked, because it's gonna sit there while we make the sauce. Take fresh orange juice, soy sauce, fresh ginger, fresh garlic, rice wine vinegar. I'll just monte some butter into there to give a rich texture. Ready to go. Our philosophy on cooking is minimalism. So our instruction to our cooks and chefs is to do only enough to enhance that dish and then get out of the way of the flavor.
There's a reason why great chefs focus on freshness, and it's because it tastes so good.
Neil Murphy's our chef in Hawaii, man. He came to us from a Park Avenue cafe in New York City, and he just totally embraced the Hawaii lifestyle. He joined a canoe club, he learned how to play ukulele, and he went from living on Park Avenue to having a farm in Waimea.
It was always a dream to go out and get my own fresh egg from the nest and cook it, to milk my own goat, put it in my coffee, and to make cheese. And you know what? Right now I'm living that dream. I come down here to Kauai High. I take a look at the beautiful ocean and the sky and just kind of reflect on life. It's great for collecting sea salt because of the weather and the lack of rain. This is all formed in pukas, or little holes in the lava rocks. This stuff is really nice because it has all these little pieces of crab and seaweed in it, and it gives it a lot of character. We'll dry that out a little bit, and then we'll kind of sift it through a strainer to get any debris out. It's a whole new level of surf and turf by putting this salt on a steak. You've got your crab, you've got your fish, you got your seaweed, all in one shot. Pretty cool, huh?
All right. So Richard, this is mahi-mahi ponzu.
Oh, this is nice. I like the combination of ginger and citrus. Tell me about this tomato here.
That's your tomato. I knew you were gonna go for your tomato. Richard Ha is a really great farmer. It would be absolutely impossible to be doing what we do without people like Richard. Not only does Richard supply to us, but he leads the way for other farmers in terms of developing new technology. He's the leader in his industry. So many chefs are celebrities nowadays. The celebrity for chefs is farmers and ranchers, right? That's our celebrities.
You know, it was about 15 years ago, Peter. You told all the farmers that you're going to buy direct. And I knew what that meant. It meant the small farmers were able to make more money.
In the early days, all the farming that was going on here was actually farming for export. So it was really a tricky thing to start finding farmers who were interested in growing for domestic use. In the very early days, there wasn't even fresh basil available to us. So we put ads in the paper saying, we buy from local producers. And that got a lot of farmers really excited.
From the time you started that, it gave farmers hope. Big deal.
It's so nice to hear. The more farmers that we have raising food, the more land that can be saved for agriculture in Hawaii. And that's been really wonderful to think that we had even a little bit of an influence on that direction.
Historically, most of the chefs, especially the hotel chefs, they took fruit, put it on an in-room amenity basket, or they put it on a buffet line. But there's a lot more to fruit than that. Look how prolific that is. My name is Ken Love, and I have an obsession with tropical fruit.
Nearly all of Hawaii's fruit was brought by immigrants or visitors passing through, often as seeds clinging to the bottom of their shoes. And Ken Love, president of the Hawaii Fruit Growers Association's Western chapter, has been farming it for 25 years. At 12 Trees Project Orchard, he has created a public fruit garden which introduces chefs to ultra exotics. More than just delicious, it also helps increase demand for locally farmed fruit.
This is a poha, or Cape gooseberry, and it's a relative of tomatillo.
It has a little tartness to it.
Kind of like sweet tart taste.
Delicious.
Chef Trask is one of the most highly decorated chefs in the American Culinary Federation. He's also the executive chef at the KhoHD Beach Resort, and just great. This is an O Tahiti gooseberry. One of the things we're going to do with Chef Trask is I'm going to show him some of these strange fruits that he's never seen.
I like the skin. The skin is sweeter.
And then we're going to take these fruits back to his hotel kitchen, and we're going to make something with it. This is the flour from the banana. Every one of these has a layer of flowers on it. This is just to flavor soups and stews. You know what the best thing for this is?
You eat it?
No, man, back scratch. In Hawaii, there's only one fruit that's really native, and that's the ohelo berry, which grows on the slopes of Mauna Kea. All this other stuff were brought here by the sandalwood traders, the whalers, the merchant marines. This is one of the original Hawaiian bananas. If it wasn't for the Philippine immigrants here, we wouldn't have a lot of these. They would have been extinct. So the fruit here, it's a history of the immigration to Hawaii over the years. You wonder what to do for vinegar. This is it, Balimbi.
So I'm going to suck on this and my face is going to turn purple.
It's gonna... It's what made my hair fall out.
I know. So we juice this and use this as a vinegar so I can make a, vinaigrette?
Yep. The nice thing about having fruit off the tree here is that it's fresh. There's taste to it.
Kind of has like a grapey flavor to it.
For the most part, you can't buy fruit at a store that way. They're hard. They're picked way too early. This whole mass marketing of fruit has really destroyed a lot of the natural flavor. This is Rollinia.
Kind of mushy in the texture, or mushy.
Yeah.
Ooh, sweet.
You know, when it gets riper, it gets more mucusy. In fact, it used to be called snot apple.
Yeah. Our special fruit of the day is snot apple. First thing we're going to do is juice the balimbi, and then we're going to make a quick salad out of it. This will be your vinegar. Okay, you want to incorporate the olive oil into the balimbi juice. Next, we're going to add some Dijon mustard, right? A little Hawaiian sea salt. We're taking the baby romaine lettuce that's grown right up the hill, and we'll toss it in the vinaigrette. And then we have heirloom tomatoes, a little bit of dragon fruit here.
For people like Chef Trask, they see this as a competitive edge. Visitors come here, they want to have something Hawaiian. They can eat that other fast food junk wherever they live, but they want to come here for something different. Even the most experienced chefs are not always familiar with these types of fruit. I mean, they are unusual. The future for exotic fruit in Hawaii is tremendous. The key point is facilitating communications between the growers and the chefs. So as long as people are talking to each other, they're learning from each other, and everybody wins.
Hawaii has a very unique cuisine. It's kind of a food lover's paradise because it's such a melting pot of flavors from all over the world. Mochi is a food that came with the Japanese people to Hawaii. It was a celebration food, it was a ceremonial food. Traditional mochi is basically the steamed rice cake made out of sweet rice flour with some sweetened red beans inside. Two Ladies Kitchen has taken traditional mochi to that next level. My name is Joan Namkung, and I'm a freelance food writer in Hawaii.
Since they began immigrating to Hawaii in the 1800s, the Japanese have become one of the largest and most influential ethnic groups on the islands, having an enormous impact on local cuisine. At Two Ladies Kitchen, they're not only preserving the tradition of handmade mochi, but updating it with ingredients not typically found in this delicious snack.
Hi, Nora.
Hi, Joan. How are you? Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
My name is Nora Uchida, and I'm the owner and operator of a mochi shop. So, Joan, this is where it starts. This is mochiko powder. Mochiko is actually rice, but it's in the powder form.
It's a really soft, fine flour. So this is basically just the mochi rice flour and water.
Then we put it on these steamers.
Stacking steamers, right.
For about an hour or so. This is the raw azuki beans. We cook it for hours.
And these are what you use as a filling for all of your products.
Right. It's going to strain for about 45 minutes. And then from there, we can mix it with the sugar. You can only work with mochi when it's hot because after that, it's like cement. You can't do anything with it. When Aunt and I started the business, we maybe had 7 types of mochi, but we're up now to about 24 different types. We put brownies in for those who don't like beans, and then we have one that's shaped like a butterfly with the white chocolate inside.
Now you're going to make your famous strawberry mochi. So you're just kind of flattening out the little ball of dough and put in some of the beans.
And then we just place the strawberry in there and then make it look like a snowball like this.
That's really good. Soft, sweet, and the wonderful strawberry inside. What could be better? The great thing about Two Ladies Kitchen is everything is done by hand, and it's a family business. It's Nora, her mom and dad, her aunt. It's really one big family that's working together to produce a really nice product.
I feel that it's a happy product, and if I make it feeling happy when people eat it, spiritually they feel happy too that they're eating such a nice product.
Waipiʻo Valley is the Valley of the Kings. In the old Hawaiian days, it was filled with a lot of Hawaiian families growing kalo. Kalo is the taro plant. They would process the kalo into poi, which is our main staple in the Hawaiian culture. My name is Kanani Makchu. I am a local taro farmer and poi processor.
Considered a sacred plant by native Hawaiians, taro is believed to be the brother of man. Used to make poi, it has remained an essential part of the Hawaiian diet for thousands of years. Though central to their culture and heritage, local taro farming has diminished in favor of less labor-intensive crops. Today, native families like the Makchus dedicate themselves to maintaining this important local food source and cornerstone of their culture.
Let's go.
Where are you going?
In the taro patch. The business name is Mokuai Piko Poi. Mokuai being the name of our farm, and Piko because Piko is your belly button, and our farm is in the center of the valley. The growing and planting of kalo goes back 4 generations in our family. It's myself, along with my husband, Kalai, and we're partners with our mom and dad, Jason and Alberta Makchu. Taro is the root that grows in the ground. Our labor is done by hand. No machines come into the actual taro patch. All of our huli, which is our stock, goes back generations, and this is what we'll actually use to replant and start a new crop. We look at it as a family plant because when they grow, the mamas come up and the keikis shoot off of them. Keikis are children. So for us, I'm the mom and Kamahia and Uhane are my keikis.
Look, there's one, Daddy.
Break the root.
Culturally, we believe that these are our ancestors. To us, it signifies family, unity. It's a very spiritual crop to grow, yeah? When you're in here, you're churching.
For us and our family, we feel like we come to the most spiritual valley on the island. Who wouldn't want to come to a church like this? There is a spiritual and higher power that our family believes in. We just don't go to a building to do it. Our ancestors walked this valley in the past, and when we're working down here, I feel like they're still among us. After we harvest the taro plant, we take our knife and we'll cut the corm off, which is the actual taro root, and that's what we use to make our poi. This is our certified kitchen where we process poi. First, the taro is steamed and washed, and Kalai and Dad will usually hand peel the outer skin, and Mom and I will fine scrape it, and we do the final cutting. Dad grinds the poi. When it's first grinded, it comes out as a paste, so Kalai adds water into it and mixes it with his hand just by feel into a smoother consistency. Poi has actually become a very expensive product, and we try to keep it at a cost where our local families can still afford it, to keep it a part of our Hawaiian culture.
So who's having a lau lau?
Me.
The flavor of poi is very hard to explain. We use it as our main staple in replace of rice or mashed potatoes. You have to eat it with something like salty. So we eat it a lot with fried fish with a lot of salt because it gives it a lot of flavor.
When your baby's born, the first solid food that they'll eat will be poi. And maybe for that same family, an elder, the last food that they're able to eat is poi.
Taro farming is one of the biggest things in our Hawaiian culture that's dying out because it's a hard life. Kalai and I chose to make the sacrifice and to be able to pass it on to our children. Our goal is for down the road to be able to say that they're the 7th generation and pass it on to their kids, you know? For Kalai and I, it's a big deal. We've put everything we have into our family business that we would like to carry on for many generations to come.
There's a word in Hawaiian and it's pono. And pono is the idea of just doing things in a correct and proper fashion. And we always try to be pono with our food. And we try to be pono in terms of the carbon footprint and how it's prepared. In fact, our mission statement is do the right thing. Somehow, when you cook in a pono style, it's going to reflect in the quality of the food that you give to your guests.